Happy Sunday. Can you hear me, Kim?
Hey, Ayana. I hear you now. Yes.
There you go. There you go. Happy Sunday. I'm glad to have you on today, Kim. Yeah, this will be fun today. This will be just such a great conversation. I know that it will be. I'm very excited to have you on. We gab, you and I. We gab outside of LinkedIn. We gab outside of Facebook. So this will be a really interesting and fun show. And so welcome to what is now the second episode of 2021 for You Choose Sunday. And thank you for being here today.
Oh my gosh, Ayana, I'm super excited, and I know how we get together and we get to talk. So I was just telling you right before this started, I have to make sure I calm down and I don't get too excited. And me and you just start going real at it, and and I don't cut you off and all that good stuff. But yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
For sure. And you know what? This is how this almost feels like it's not natural for us, because we do get going and we don't like to censor ourselves. So I just want to, for everyone who's here, thank you, first of all, for being here. Please make sure you leave us a comment. Let us know where you're watching from, whether you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on YouTube. And I just want to give Kim an opportunity to introduce herself and what she does. But before she does that, I'm going to tell you how I know Kim. So if you've been following me at all, if you watch my LinkedIn videos or Facebook, I talk about how very small my circle is, right? So my network is big, my network is large, my circle is small. And I will say that Kim Watt has been in my circle for a decade. We've known each other for that long. We've been rolling for a long time now. So yeah, this is such a great time to have you on, because I know who you are personally. And so I know that when you speak from the heart. So you are a certified life coach, but you are a woman who's transitioning. You're doing some things right now. And so you do a lot of work around self-love. And we've heard about self-love now for a few years. Self-love and love yourself. And but you talk about this very specific concept, this very specific idea of loving yourself back to wholeness. So I want to talk about that, because you talk about it in a very real way. So why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what you mean by that? Tell us what you're up to first.
Okay. So, first I just want to say, yes, I've known Ayana for 10 years. Okay. And it's been amazing 10 years. And this is if anyone can have a friendship like you have with Ayana and I have, man, treasure that. Because we started our little coffee chats just having breakfast with each other and sharing dreams and ideas so long ago. So for me to be sitting here on you interviewing and seeing all the amazing things that you're doing in your life and your business, my God, it's an honor. I am so excited. I'm so thrilled for you. I love the work that you're doing. And I feel the same way. My network might be large. I don't know if it's as big as yours, but my relationships, it's very small, who I really trust, and you're one of them, and you give me a safe place to be me. And I deeply love you. So it is an honor to be here. So yes, I'm a certified life coach, speaker. I was mentored long time ago by legendary motivational speaker Les Brown. He's a friend of mine, and did some training with him. And now I'm actually going back to school on Monday to get my master's in social work. And I'm just excited to be here. And my one thing is just helping women, like you said, love yourself back to wholeness, finding freedom. And what I mean by loving yourself back to wholeness is that we were born whole. We were born good. We were born beautiful and with all these amazing desires and everything that makes us who we are, so uniquely who we are from the very beginning. But then life and religion and church and all that stuff can get in there and jack it all up. And so it's getting you back to who God said you are from the very beginning, from the day you were born.
So when we're talking about going back to the beginning, let us go back to the beginning, because I think it's very important for people to know how we are connected, how we are acquainted, right? So we were deep deep up in that evangelical church. We were. That's how I knew. I ain't there no more. You know, I left. I had enough.
Yeah.
I saw what I saw. I got what I got, and I said, I'm out. I did not leave God. I did not leave Jesus, but I left some whack people.
Yes.
And that's just the truth.
Yes.
So, but you and I remained friends, and we were able to have some very real discussions about what it meant to be a believer and still going through some stuff and not having people shame you about your negative feelings. So I want you to talk just a second about what exactly do you mean? Because we're all talking about self-love all the time now, right? What do you mean when you say loving yourself back to wholeness? I want you to really explain that again for us.
Okay, so I do want to touch back on that church thing though, and why your relationship is so important to me. And can I tap for a quick second? Okay. So Yana and I did
tap in.
Yes. Okay. So Yana and I met in church, grew a relationship. We were very much involved in our church. And then things started happening. And we had a president that was, I don't even want to call him the president, right? I'm glad he's going to be out of here right soon. But there was this election that happened and about Trump and all these things started surfacing. And I saw you start, and things are going on within me too. The Holy Spirit was showing things within me as well. And you started speaking out. And you started like, I'm going to church no more. You started speaking out about racism. You started speaking out about things. And I remember the initial feeling I had inside of me was, ooh, she's angry. Is she like, this doesn't seem like Jesus. And I remember like that, those feelings starting to come in, that uncomfortable feeling. And the Holy Spirit, because I know you, I love you. Holy Spirit was like, you need to sit in that discomfort. That's your friend. And you better listen to what she has to say. And I did quietly. I don't even know if you knew how much I was listening to you. And I started listening and I started doing my own homework. I don't believe I brought it to you. I ended up calling you afterwards. I started reading. I started discovering the racism that was in me, my own white privilege. And I had to repent. I had to look deeply within myself. Just because I had a Black friend or married to a Hispanic man, because I am also I have Polynesian descent. My mom's Hawaiian. I'm light skinned, but I'm also, a part of me is also, I'm a woman of color, which I'm just embracing now because of white supremacy. Didn't allow me to do that, but that's a whole nother topic. And I was able to, though, repent from my
Pull the scales off.
Yes. And before I could even move forward, though, Yana, before I had to do my own repenting, I had to do my own research. I had to do my own studying. And then as God was healing me, now to love myself back to wholeness, I'm actually yes, I know my privilege. I see that how I'm going to use now my voice for good and that privilege, but also now being able to love myself back to wholeness, meaning where did I come from? Connecting to my ancestors, to my Hawaiian roots, and embracing that part too. But in my friendship to you, you taught me so much. And I think that is so important to know, like, what you were in my life. And I remember calling you, and I remember having that discussion with you. And I was telling you, I'm sorry. Like, I really was going to be like, she's one of those angry Black women. And you had every right to be angry. And that anger is a good thing. So I know we're going to probably touch on that too. So you are so much part of my journey. I talk about you for everything, and that more people need to listen to Black women. There's no denying that. More people need to listen to Black women. Your voices need to be heard. And that's all there is to it. And no church, that's how you're holding no token. You're no token. And so,
no. Right. So you took it in a different direction, and I love it, because that's one of the things. But let me tell you why I love it, because I need to be in relationship with people who tell the truth, who speak the truth, who want to know the truth, and who want to be better. And that is how our friendship has always been. And that is why I appreciate it. You didn't come to me for your learning. You didn't try to soak up on me as a sponge. You went and did your own learning, and then you came back. And so, again, another show for another day, but thank you for bringing that up, because it is important. Yeah. So I want to talk about now, I just love that. I got chills. Thank you. I do want to talk about as we're talking about loving yourself back to wholeness, and we're talking about self-love and what all of that means, in order to do that, in order to really be walking in that self-love, we've got to talk about this positive thinking myth. Mm-hmm. Tell me, in your own words, what is it about positive thinking that can really disrupt our self-love, that can disrupt our journey? What is the positive thinking myth in your mind?
The positive myth in my mind is it's a denial of yourself. It's putting the mask on. It's not being able to be honest with who you are. And I think a lot of times people do it. I know I've done it to people, and I'm someone who is like, I'm a 7 on the Enneagram. I love to look for the good in everything. And I know like your thoughts are important, but that whole positivity, it denies your reality. There's not healing that can take place. It leaves you in circles that you probably shouldn't have been in situations that you shouldn't be in. And I think too, people like pulling on that whole positive thinking because they're uncomfortable with themselves. They're not comfortable with them. So with who they are and their pain. So they don't want you to, like, they can't handle your pain. And so it's just like, well, just think positive. But thinking positive, that's the same thing as pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Thinking positive sometimes doesn't. I know a lot of people who think positive. I know a lot of hardworking people, yet they are suffering. Some of them are homeless. Some of them are just trying to make ends meet. And I think there's so much shame that gets put on, just think positive, just think positive. Well, that doesn't always help. I think part of helping you really heal and love yourself as a whole woman is to also be honest with your feelings and honest with the anger, with all the, I guess what you would say negative, but those negative emotions are good. They help heal you. They help show you, they help that it's a part of what you need to feel. In order to be fully human, you have to be able to fully feel everything. And I want to feel. Sometimes the deepest pain I've had has helped me love people deeper, has helped me to connect with God deeper, and helps me to love myself deeper. And so when we put that mask on and just say, just think positive and just throw scripture on it, you're denying that person their reality, their healing, and maybe the purpose and the direction that God wants them to move into.
Yes. So I want to bring this up because you have, because you brought up God, you brought up your faith several times in this conversation. You talk about how like there was shame in having negative thoughts because we're told to be positive, be positive, be positive. I would say that I think the other thing that happens when we are that way, when we deny our feelings, when we try to hurry up and pile on positive thinking on top of it, I think it also interrupts your relationship with your creator, whoever you say your creator is. Because for me, in order for me to be in relationship with anyone, I have to be able to be real. I have to be able to come with you with my garbage. I have to be able to say what I need to say. Yes. If I cannot say and feel and be the way that I need to be, say, feel, because I feel guilt about feeling how I feel, even when it is, it's relatable. It's something that is because it has a right to be. I think that breaks down your relationships, not just with your creator, but with who you yourself are. Because what I'm teaching myself to do is shut down. I'm not allowed to feel. I'm not allowed to be mad. I'm not allowed to be angry. Let me get on this camera and let me smile for everybody. Let me be going through the darkest times of my life, still acting like it's all good. Stop doing that. It's not self-love. It's hypocrisy is what it is. It is a detriment to your mental health. That's what it is.
Yes.
It's not good.
Absolutely.
So you and I talk about it a lot. No, go ahead, please.
And what you were just getting ready to say is in the church, I think being in the church and just having to, I just really think it gets down to the people are not able, they're not comfortable in their own pain. So they don't allow you to be comfortable in your pain. And I think it's important to find people like you that are working on their stuff and are able to get honest with themselves so they can create the space for you. More pain. I wrote a blog years ago at the church that we were at. This is what happened. Now, I remember writing about that, about being honest with yourself and being honest with God. Like, I was going through another really dark time in my life. And I remember my husband and I were driving, and the only word that could express how I was feeling was fuck. Can I say that on here? Can I say the F word? I just said it, but I really would like to bring the passion that goes along with the word, because it's one of my, when I'm in deep pain, that is my word, and I like that word.
But word, girl, I'm not gonna judge you.
But I got more messages about the word that I used than me expressing, than caring about the pain that I was expressing. And I'm like, you really think Jesus cares about that word? It's a word that we've put power to. That was the word that was deep in my heart, that I could express to my husband, that I was like, this was the pain I was feeling. Like, this is the pain that we were going through. And they were so upset about the word. Well, who cares about the word? Like, you have to be able to get honest with yourself and with God, and find safe people that you can say those things to. And so that you can be who you are and get the healing that you need without someone shaming you, without someone throwing forgiveness down your back. I think that's another thing that we need to talk about. And I'm going to tell you this too, especially for Black women. Because, and I remember sharing this with someone not too long ago, forgiveness, we get to decide when we need to forgive. I was going through a really hard time. I had to disconnect. I don't have a relationship with my dad now for almost 6 years. And I had to make that decision for the mental health, for me to be able to love myself the way I needed to, for healing for my own life. And we were going through a hard time. I remember walking into the church, and all of a sudden, and this was in the midst of it, forgiveness was thrown on there. And then you hear all these stories, wow, how their relationship was healed, and maybe their relationship with their parents or their spouse or whatever. Well, that's your story. That might be my story. And there's a time for forgiveness, and I get to decide. And if someone is truly, if they really come to you and they say they're sorry, they're not expecting you to hurry up, and like, it's almost as if they're coming to say sorry just to make them feel good. You know, people have to learn how to sit in their pain. You have to learn how to sit in your pain. And so someone can say, if you're upset with me and I come to say I'm sorry to you, that's great. But then you do not have to extend and say, okay, I forgive you. It's on your timing. And if somebody is really honest and serious about their forgiveness, then they're going to let you be where you're at and continue to move on. Whether or not we're ever friends again, I have to be okay with that. Learn whatever it is and move on. And I think that's another part of loving yourself as a whole person. As I keep saying, loving yourself back to wholeness is, forgiveness is important, but you get to decide when you want to forgive. No one needs to hurry you through that. And that person needs to say, even if someone comes, it's just because someone says they're sorry doesn't mean that relationship needs to be back. You know, you have to have reconciliation before forgiveness and reconciliation, and you get to choose. You get to choose.
So I want to go back to something that you said, because I want to land there for a second. And what you said, I want to land on two things. First, you said forgiveness, and you said, and for Black women. And so what I want to clarify is what you meant by that. And I know you, so I don't want to put words in your mouth. This is what I think you meant. For a lot of Black women, we are pushed, especially in the church, especially in the white evangelical church, to hurry up and forgive. You are pushed to hurry up and forgive. And if you cannot hurry up and forgive, there's something wrong with you, right? Yes. There's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with how you're believing. There's something wrong how you're operating in the world. And what you are saying is, if you are to operate, to function in, to live out self-love for yourself, it comes with, doggone it, I don't feel like being forgiven. So I'm going to sit in that, and I'm going to just be who I am. And I'm not going to force myself to do anything, because I'm going to let my body tell me when it's ready to respond.
Yes.
When I hear you talk about loving yourself back to wholeness, when I hear you saying that phrase, I think about being able to seriously, and I think it takes time for people to do this, to unzip and pull off all that crap that people tell you that you should do, you should be, you should behave, you should, instead of just being. Your body will let you know.
Yes.
If you are a person of faith, the spirit will let you know. And so loving yourself back to wholeness, probably, I think for a lot of people, if we had to break it down, it just means accepting yourself wherever you are. That doesn't mean like you sit in that forever.
No.
But really honoring who you are and not trying to pile on the positive thinking to be better and cover it up.
Yes. Yes, I want to go here, but I want to go back to the Black woman part, because absolutely that's what I was saying, Ayana. I see it so many times. I was even in a circle with a bunch of Black women, and it was almost as if there was a woman shaming some of the other women about, but we have to forgive. Well, yes, forgiveness is part of all of our journeys, but just because someone comes to you and says they're forgive you, that's great, but you do not have to rush into that. And true repentance, true forgiveness is if they're not demanding it from you. Like they're not making you make them feel better. No, no, great. Yes. Okay. Maybe you can accept it, but that doesn't mean you have to go and make them feel better. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, I want to make sure that was clear. Absolutely. And it happens.
No, thank you for clearing that up.
Yes. Thank you.
I want to take a pause for a second because you and I, you know how we do. And we're already 20 minutes in. And guess what? I done forgot to welcome people again. I'm sorry, y'all. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Listen. No, I'm serious. I get so into these conversations. I don't know who's on here anymore, but if you are, leave us a comment. Let me know where you're watching in from. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. Let me put up this little banner here. Child, I don't even know what I'm doing.
Look how fancy these two downriver girls are.
Downriver. So, yeah, if you're here and you're enjoying the show, you're enjoying this conversation, and I hope you are. Please go ahead and like this video, this live chat. And if you have time, go and subscribe to my YouTube channel because it's poor. It's really sad. It's, and it would help. I'm gonna be working on that in 2021. But I'm totally unfazed by the stuff. You know why? Because I love myself and I don't do anything that makes me stress so much. I try not to, that it makes me not enjoy the things that I set out to enjoy. So, if you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, it's under Ayana King. I will be forever grateful. But if you don't, I understand. So let's keep going.
All right,
thank you for watching, everyone.
I'm so glad you're here. I want to talk about the body.
Okay.
Because it is important. Because listen, in the church.
Are we talking about loving yourself back to wholeness? Yes. Are we talking about the body, or are we talking about the body?
No, we're talking about our bodies, the body, my body, your body. Because loving yourself back to wholeness, I think in the church, at least my experience, was never to really connect with your body. We're taught that it's bad. There's so much shame. And especially last year, being premenopausal, going in the second part of my life, walking into midlife, it's like you're in puberty all over again, except you don't have the pimples. I got the wrinkles, the dry skin, all the other emotions that come. It's like puberty on steroids.
Puberty.
Yeah.
Puberty on top of puberty on top of puberty.
Oh my God. Yeah. And so that's really where I was starting to learn to, listen to her, my body. Like for me, because I'm a woman of faith, the Holy Spirit is in me. Like, why wouldn't I be connecting to my body? My body is screaming right now. It's another thing. I don't need to just think positive and ignore everything. And hormonally, and I swear this needs to be something that needs to be talked about, is menopause for women. There's so much shame on there because anger is a part of this journey, and feeling that in your body, knowing what that is, feeling it, being aware of it. It's here to show you something. It's here to teach you something. It's here to give birth to a new version of you. And we're not allowed to talk about it. It's like, cover that up. God's good. God's, all that stuff. And it's like, no. You need to sit here. You need to connect to your body. You need to start loving yourself. Listen, I am not trying to be 30 years old anymore.
Don't take me back. I don't want to go back.
No, I gained more weight in 2020. And guess what? I ain't shaming myself. It's like, get inside, get in your bathroom, get naked, look at your body, and love every freaking part of who you are, and stop
Ooh.
trying to be like, I finally colored my hair the other day, and I wasn't going to. I'm like, I will color it only when I want to. I'm embracing these gray hairs. I'm embracing my wrinkles. Now, if you want to color your hair, I'm not shaming anybody for coloring hair, or if you want to get Botox or any of that, that's on you. You do what you need to do to make yourself feel better. I'm just saying, for me, I was no longer shaming myself, trying to control myself with food, trying to control myself for not being able to be playful and have fun. I was allowing myself to eat what I wanted to eat. I was allowing myself to sit around and binge movies if I wanted to. I enjoyed my curves and how I'm looking now, and without shaming myself, and then listening. And so listen, when COVID started, and tell me if I'm talking too much, because I can get on a roll.
I love it.
So 2020 comes, and my hormones are a mess. And honestly, I really believe there was a time for me to sit and start really looking at some things that I already knew I needed to look at, but I didn't want to look at it. And there's a couple things, and I will try to stay on point because I know we could go way all over the place. But I was really struggling. I struggled with depression and some mental health things early in my early years, like 19, 20 years old, had almost like a nervous breakdown when I got married, had to get on some medication. And there was so much shame in that for me. And I went through a lot of healing, ended up having my kids. And honestly, for that time, it was almost as if I was in remission. I don't know what it was about being a mom and all of that. I did not, and I really believe God healed me through my children in that season. I don't necessarily say anymore. I'm very careful on how I use this, because I don't necessarily know if it ever went away. But in that season, God motherhood was something for me that helped save me. And I don't know if it had to do with my hormones. I don't know if it just gave me, I don't really know. Okay. But I didn't struggle with it. Now I'm coming into midlife again, and it's coming back up. And I know there's still things in me that needed healing through, like relationship with my dad and the church, and allowing people to tell me who I needed to be, and me wanting belonging so bad that I threw away everything about myself, which is part of the whole loving yourself back to wholeness. Like, you don't need to throw it all away. And so there was a lot of anger I had within my own self, and I had to face that and work through it. But I was also struggling so bad mentally. I was in a really bad depression, and I had to finally say, I need help. I need help. My husband even said, Kim, you need help. You can't do this anymore. And I ended up, and this is the first time, Ayanna, I'm sharing this publicly. And I don't mind sharing things. And I'm having a feeling, I'm sure there's people that need to hear this. Because sometimes in the church can make you feel like you're demon possessed if you're struggling with a mental illness or and I don't even like to say mental illness. It's a struggle, just like anything else in our life. And sometimes it'll be something that someone has their whole life. And sometimes it's just seasons. And I felt like, oh my gosh, how am I going to be someone that can help people and be this, like, I am hopeful. I love to help people to go after their desires of their heart, but here I'm struggling with depression. So I remember hearing, I think Glennon Doyle saying, who's an amazing author and speaker. And she was like, she's a depressed inspirational speaker. And I was like, I love that. Yes. And, I do struggle with depression, and it is, and I don't know if it has something to do with menopause and everything, but I ended up getting some help, and I ended up getting on medication. And it was as if I felt like my mind was so clear again. I have come alive again. And I don't know if that's going to be something I'm going to be on the rest of my life. And I'm okay if it is, and if it's just a season, but I had to listen to my body and stop fighting it and say, I need help. And it doesn't mean I'm weak. It doesn't mean my faith is weak. It doesn't mean I haven't thought positive enough. I haven't prayed hard enough. But this is just who I am. And it's been a part of me. It's been a part of my story. And it's okay. And to embrace that part. And know that
so let me say this. Thank you so much for sharing all of that, because you and I talk, again, we've known each other for decades. So we talk very personally about these things. And so before we actually came on the live chat, I said, is there anything off limits? I never want to talk about things that just quite frankly aren't other people's business, right? Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I really love about you is that you walk it like you talk it. And so when you talk about loving yourself back to wholeness and what that means for you, part of that is just being, unapologetically who you are. And that's what you do. That's what you do. And so in sharing that, I'm so glad you did, because you probably did share something that some people probably could resonate with. And, part of loving yourself back to wholeness is just that. Just being okay with who you are and where you are again. And so if you were going to, let's say, give people 3 things they could do to get back to the real, get back to the realness, stop operating under this fake positivity, stop operating under shame and guilt for being how you are and feeling what you feel, especially when you got legitimate reasons to feel how you feel. What would you tell people?
Well, one of the things I would tell somebody, especially if you're faithful, especially if you are I'm really even kind of sometimes scared to say the word Christian because sometimes of what they represent. But if you're following Jesus,
say that.
I would ask yourself this one thing: are you following the way of Jesus? Are you following what the Holy Spirit is really wanting for you in your life, and being okay with who you are in this moment, your life? Or are you more attached to the lies and the lust of the American dream? Because that can keep you in bondage. It can keep you from not loving your life right as it is. The good, like, we have to be able to, if you want to be fully human, is experience all of it and be okay with your life. Because there's such this message that you need to hustle, you need to be more, you got to do more, it's greater, it's bigger. And I'm like, whatever. Because right before COVID started, my husband and I were taking a walk, and it's so crazy on how this all happened, but I was like, and I really felt the Spirit telling me, like, Kim, what the world sees as great, what the world sees as great, it's not necessarily, it's not the bigger the better. Let me rephrase that. What Jesus sees as great, the world sees as average. And so to know that your life matters. Your life matters whether you're at home with your kids, whether you're a working mom, whether you're just trying to put food on the table. If you have a job, if you don't have a job, it doesn't mean you're not. God, I get so angry when I even have a problem when we were talking about the positive myth, like, oh, because I'm speaking a certain way and I believe God, I know God's got, I trust that God has something good for me. But the way sometimes people say things, it's like, well, you don't think that person over there doesn't deserve goodness and wholeness and doesn't deserve more. I'm no better than anybody else. And so I think it is just coming to a place of just loving who you are, loving the place that you're at, and stop trying to be somewhere else. Ever since my kids were younger, this was something I would tell them. And I would say to myself, keep the bigger picture in mind, but still focus on the moment that you're in, or you miss it. Miss it. I would also say let go of perfection. I mean, that's one thing I got to say I'm grateful for. I've never tried to be perfect. Letting go of perfection. Allow yourself to heal from shame, because if you don't know who you are, if you have to abandon any part of you to walk into a room, in a church, in a workplace, in a friend's house, then that's not for you. You have to be fully you. Okay. And I know I had so much shame that I gave up so much of me, the good parts of me. And I was just always looking to belong, but you got to belong to yourself and to God first. First and foremost. And so how do you do that? So start getting quiet. Give yourself permission to rest. Give yourself permission just to be. If your body is telling you to take a freaking nap, take a nap.
Take one.
I'm all about eating healthy, but for God's sakes, if you want to go and indulge in some cake and some junk food, go do it.
Right.
Get outside. Nature is somewhere that I'm reconnecting. I reconnect with myself and with God. Is get outside and go for a walk. Look around you. Just start looking at your life. One practice I've taken in for the last couple of months, my husband and I, has been meditating. And
Okay.
I think in the church too, they teach you like that's some church circles make it look like, that's from the devil. And, your thoughts are important. The stories you're telling yourself is important. Your mind is so important, but no one's teaching you how to do it. And so we started connecting on the Calm app. I love that app. And there's all kinds of different courses or meditations you can plug into. And it honestly has changed my life. It's changed my life. Get yourself around some safe people. Like Ayana knows, I shared about my depression. She's been messaging me for weeks, months. I mean, we've been talking about this for years, and
We have.
I had to tell her, listen, I only told a few people. So I'm okay to talk about it now, but I was like, Ayana, I hit rock bottom. It's just not a time for me right now. You did not try to throw anything on, tell me I need to pray more, do this anymore. You gave me the space and you knew I was going to be back. And you allowed me to be me. And you need that. You need people who give you space and can love you, but don't let you keep you there. I know you wouldn't allow me to stay there. I know, because we have that relationship, and I allow you to speak into me, to find some very, very safe people to be around. I mean, it's actually a few things and it's a step, like drinking water, like taking 10 minutes. I make sure every morning before I do anything, I read, because that's what I love to do. That's my time for myself. I don't want to deny that. I get up, I enjoy my cup of coffee, I read, I take some time for just me. And it can just be that simple. It doesn't have to be something huge and something big. And those small steps, those small little practices is what begins to help you start loving yourself in a deeper and more authentic way.
I think so too. I almost
Did I make
feel all the time, but I have to tell you, don't be giving the people too much, because these are our discussions. Okay, don't let everybody in. Okay, stop, Kim. No, I really do love this, because when you say get some people around that you can be safe with, I know that we have that. Mm-hmm. Again, my circle is small. It's really like a pinhole, for real. Yeah. But you have been somebody that's been in my circle for a long time. So I appreciate this conversation. I want to just stop for a second and just acknowledge some folks who are watching and who came on and commented. Travis, thank you. Nicole, thank you. Tish, thank you. April. I'm just gonna pick randomly here. Let me see. Show there. Nicole. Oh, Nicole says this was spot on. Thank you, ladies. I love this. Nicole, I know that this resonates with her too, because we have some of the same kinds of conversations about just being unapologetic about who you are, and getting around people that you can be safe with is also part of self-love. Because when I continue to put myself around people who make me feel bad about myself, who demand that I change myself to make them feel comfortable, that's not self-love at all. It's not. So, no. Tish said. Same, Ayana and Kim. Most majority, I think she's talking about the church, didn't care about the pain I was feeling and the pain I was in. They only cared how uncomfortable they felt. And I exposed the pain that they caused me. Ooh, okay. So let's talk about what will happen sometimes. Sometimes when you mistreat people, even when they have been beaten down and they've been quiet, sometimes they rise up and then they start talking.
That's right.
Sometimes they start talking. Hear me. Sometimes they start talking, and all the things that you wanted to squish down about them, oh baby, it explodes to your detriment, not to theirs. So I get that. And then April said, this is powerful. I think so too. This is a really good conversation. I'm so glad that you shared all that you shared, just about really the mental health part. We don't talk about that enough. I'm super protective about what I do, because I think I can be a highly anxious person. I realize that now as I'm getting older. I just, it's part of self-love is being okay with other people being mad at you. It is. Other people being mad about you changing, other people about you not being who you used to be, other people being mad about you not sharing your time with them. I don't have to. I don't have to, because I have a responsibility to myself first. Because if I cannot care for myself, I cannot be a good mother. I cannot be a good wife. I cannot run a business. I cannot do the things that are important to me. And part of what's really important for me is really for people to see that you can have this deep, very meaningful connection to God. And it does not have to be connected with other people of God.
That's right.
For you to have that healthiness. So what else you want to add, Kim? We've been talking about 40 minutes now, and I know. I know. So
we could keep talking. We do need to do our podcast.
We've been talking about a podcast for years.
I know.
We really have. We've been talking about it for a while now. I think it'll happen.
I think so
Part
too.
of the issue is that you moved. That's the other thing people don't know. So Kim and I, we both used to live in the same general area. We can get together. We would see each other at church, whatever. And then of course that came crashing down, right? But then she went and moved on me. So now she's like states away. But I really feel like in 2021 we're going to have an opportunity where we come together and we do some things that are good for us and that are good for other people.
So I don't know, do we want to keep talking or do we want to save some stuff, Ayana, so people will come back and listen? Because I know we can save some stuff. I think so. Love to keep talking. I think we need to do part 2 of this.
we probably should do that. But one thing I do want to switch direction and ask you, so now we're in 2021. You are feeling a lot healthier.
Yes.
What are some things that you are putting in place for 2021 so that you remain healthy? You remain in this good space?
Boundaries, better boundaries. My husband and I had a really great opportunity in 2020 because we're all home together, and to really learn how to show up for each other. We've been married almost 23 years. We've known each other since we're 10. I mean, we both have learned, both of us are learning how to love ourselves better so we can show up for each other, but also allowing my husband to be who he is. And which I think he's always allowed me to be who I am. So one of those things, and how I'm going to I'm enjoying my life, and I'm not going to put so much restrictions on me. Meaning like this might sound stupid to somebody, but honestly, in 2020, I didn't watch movies with my family. I was so hard on myself about wanting to, make sure I'm growing my business or doing certain things that I just didn't allow myself to enjoy certain things in life. And I'm telling you, I probably my kids and I and my husband have watched more movies this year, and I've just enjoyed my time doing those little things. So in 2021, I'm not going to be so hard on myself. I'm not going to try controlling myself so much. I'm allowing myself to enjoy the moment that I'm in. Though I think I used to do that, I think I do it for other people, but I wasn't doing it for myself. I'm being more playful. I'm allowing myself to be more playful. People think like I got this really big outgoing personality. Honestly, and my husband's more quiet. He's more of the playful one. He's the more of the fun one than I am. And so I'm learning to be more playful with myself. I'm also working on going back to get my master's, because as a certified life coach, I know I've said this to you before, I see so many people mishandle coaching and the damage that it's done to people. I want to make sure, though I am fully equipped, and go back to social work, but because also social justice is a very big part of who I am, and want to continue to do that work. And then working on keep pushing forward with my podcast and really focus on speaking and doing workshops. So that's my plate. And of course, being the mom and to my 4 kids, and, enjoying my family is part of that. And knowing how to say No. And I think I said it already before. If I have to abandon any part of me, then that's not a part I'm walking into. The reason I knew I could do this video with you is because I know that I can show up fully me. And so I don't have to say yes to everybody. And just because somebody might know some people and have some great networks, or this can get me that opportunity, if it doesn't line up with me, I'm not doing it. And another thing too is I won't be quiet. So I will be speaking up about things. I do speak up about white privilege. I do speak up about, and that is a part. I know I've had people. So if you're in business and starting in, especially if you're a woman and people they have told me this for years. You can't talk about this. You can't do that. No, then that's not that. This is who I am, and these are the things I need to talk about, and I'm not going to be quiet about it. So that, but also for me personally too, as I talked about. So business wise, that's what I'm doing, but also the part of I've learned about, continuing having the Holy Spirit show me my white privilege, continue to heal me from the racism that's within me, and from white supremacy, and also allowing myself to reconnect to my Hawaiian heritage and to really embrace that part of me. And so that's really part of my journey, and allowing my kids to know that too. It's like their Hispanic culture, their Hawaiian, all of that. They too have been on this journey with us, and we have some great discussions and doing this, as a family, and making sure that we're following Jesus, and we're loving people. We're loving ourselves. We're loving others, and serving the people around us. And really, that's it. I mean, I probably just a lot of stuff.
That's okay. I like it.
I just want it to be simple. I just want to enjoy my one freaking precious life. I'm 45 this year. I don't want this whole bigger, greater, like my life is good. And right now it's great. I didn't probably meet any business goals in 2020, but you know what? I did meet different kind of goals. It's just like when you says God knows what's best for you, and God really does know what's best for you, and to really trust that direction. I know the direction that I'm going into with social work at 45 years old, going back to school. I could tell myself all the reasons why not to. I know that there's been people telling me, oh, Kim, but you should do this and you should do that. I know I got to trust God. You have to be able to see the path when no one else can see the path, and just go with it. Because I know every time I've done that, God has just blessed my heart and my family in so many amazing ways by bringing me people. It's in the relationships, it's with the people that I love the most. And so, I think just getting rid of that bigger and better and more. I can't do it anymore.
So
and all that positive thinking. Get real.
First of all, listen, positive thinking is good, but not when it requires you to pretend like things that are going on in your body are not going on. Then it's garbage and throw it out.
Yep.
Second, if I would have listened to people who told me to abandon the diversity and inclusion part of my business, my business would not be where it is today. So I know that we are social media people, right? And we look at social media and we see what people have. We see what they're doing. Don't do that. Do not do that. Because let me tell you something. People lie. People straight up lie. So I know a lot of people who are chasing and lusting after folks they see on social media and on TV. And listen, them people got real life problems just like you do. Number one. And number two, just because somebody looks like they got something going on the outside, you have no idea. So measure your life with your own measuring stick, not somebody else's. Run your own race, not somebody else's. And for me, today, as it was in 2018 when I started my business, all of my business is personal, all of it. So if somebody comes to me and says, I like this about your business, but please don't do this, or please don't talk about this, you know what I say? I am not the person you should be working with.
Yep. Because you would be abandoning yourself. Yes. You would be abandoning yourself.
That I wish I would have done that with relationships earlier in my life. The way that I am so disciplined in the way that I am with my business relationships, I wish I would have been that way earlier on in my personal life. Because, when I left the church we were at, and then the church that I left after that, I left a lot of people behind too. I left a lot of people behind. It's got to be that way sometimes.
Yeah.
So don't be holding on to things and people and thoughts and religion even.
Yeah.
Because you know what you do? You make that your idol.
Yeah.
And man, it will fall. It will
Yeah.
crumble. It will fall. So work on yourself.
Yes. And I think it's hard. I know it's hard. It's because we want to belong so bad, and we're relationship people that we what happens is you abandon those things of who you are, and then you kick yourself years later, especially when you start going through the transition of midlife. You're like, but it's belonging to yourself first. So then you find the right relationships, because if not, you're not enjoying the life that you have, right? You're not walking in the purpose that you have right now. And I think everything is on purpose. Like this moment right here, what if this was just it? Like, what if this is just what God has for me? Like me and you having this conversation. Could I be okay with that? Couldn't that be enough? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody.
It does make sense to me. Like, am I okay with where I am today? And if that was the pinnacle, if that were the height, would I be okay with it? I would be. I would be, because I love my life. I love my family. I love how I feel. I'm working on some things. I was very transparent saying, like, I'm not always nice to myself. So when you were talking specifically about the body, I'm not always nice to myself with the way that I talk, not outwardly, but inwardly, right?
Yeah.
I'm not always nice to myself with the way that I treat my body or the way that I talk about my body, but I'm working on that this year. So I just love this conversation so much, Kim. Go ahead.
No, I'll just say, and for us to be kind to ourselves, even when we screw up, we're not going to always get it right. My God, for us women to learn how to be kind to ourselves. We can be kind to everyone else, but we're just not kind to ourselves. And it shows up in how you just said it, how we treat our bodies. We got to stop trying to be 20 years ago. Maybe that was for me.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to go back.
How many people get to say, Yana, how many people, it's a gift. How many people get to wake up and say, oh my God, I made it to 45. So why would I try to be 35? Not everyone gets to be 45. So instead of looking back, I want to be here now and not miss it. Gray hair, the wrinkles, for me, it's part of it. Just like my belly getting big and the stretch marks was part of being pregnant. This is a new season, and I want to experience all of it. And I'm not allowing the lies of this freaking world, and even the lies that the church have embraced. I swear the church has embraced the American dream. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not doing it. And so I just want to love my life. And I think everyone watching this, give yourself permission to love your life. And if you want to close this and go get in bed today and take a long nap, then by God, go do it. You know what I mean? Like, do what you got to do. There's no place there's no hurry. I think we talked about this one time. There's no hurry. It's not, you said it the other day. It's not our time. It's God's time. And to trust the timing, trust you're not behind. Stop comparing yourself to anybody else. And it's a journey.
I just want to, in closing.
Yeah, we got to go.
I just want to share. This was so fun though. In closing, I want to share just really quick, because you said that the other day. It's not your timing. I want to share really quick what happened. So Kim and I had a conversation by phone the other day. We hadn't talked by phone in a little bit, but I was sharing with her how like the night before I'd had a conversation with somebody by telephone, and I had been like kind of avoiding it. And I say this to people, I'm very transparent. I could be very boxed off. Like I'm on when I'm on, but when I'm off, I don't want to be bothered. I don't. Like, I need to recharge. It's just how I am. I'm like, it is. I just need to recharge. It takes a lot for me to do some things. I don't know, it just does. So when I don't want to be bothered, I don't want to be bothered. And so that I know that probably came across in the conversation, and I did not feel good about it. And so it bothered me that night, and it was bothering me the next morning. I was in the shower, and that's really my prayer time. Like, I pray throughout the day, but that's when I'm really getting myself together. And so what I was doing was I was justifying why I was so short with this person. And so what I was saying, I was like, well, doggone it, God, like, this is my time. Like, it's my time, and I need my time. And I hate when people like infringe upon my time, and they don't ask me, and they call me up, and they want me to be doing stuff. You want me to do something for free? I was rambling on about this in my mind, right? really complaining about people using up my time. Truthfully, like, I'm just being real. That's how it was. And I'm telling you, like, I just really felt in my spirit, but it's not your time. It's my time. Mm-hmm. It's my time. And I gave it to you. And I was like, whoop. Yes. Let me shut my mouth, but let me get my heart together, because that's another part of self-love for me is, why am I thinking the way that I'm thinking? And why am I saying what I'm saying? And let me take it in prayer, because I'm going to get an answer. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get an answer. I just believe that I'm going to get an answer. And let me tell you something. I got told off. I got told off on that day in the shower. I did. I got told off on that day. But so what that has done for me is it makes me more aware when I'm tired and I'm feeling like somebody is taking advantage of me, because that's really what it comes from. Mm-hmm. I feel like for a long time I've let people take advantage of me. Mm-hmm. I was angry about it. Mm-hmm. Okay, well then be real with yourself and say what you're really mad about. Mm-hmm. Say what you're really mad about. And part of a good and healthy prayer life is not holding back. Because there's nothing you can hide anyway. Yeah. Nothing you can hide anyway. No. So your time is your time, but your time is also borrowed. So be good to yourself and be good to other people. Mm-hmm. And thank you so very much for being here today, Kim. I appreciate you. You know, I love you.
I love you so much.
I hope that we will be able to see each other in 2021, not like this, and not with our shaky camera phones. However, we be walking around the house looking crazy, but really in person, so I can get that good energy from a hug.
Yes, I love you. Thank you, Ayana, for having me on here. And we do need to be planning our podcast. I'm not joking.
We do.
Yeah, I'm not joking.
I know.
Yeah, so... You know, and if anyone wants to follow me too, they can follow me. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook. Well, I'm not really on Facebook right now. I've taken a Facebook break, but they can find me on Instagram at KimWatt _ I think I ended up putting that on private just for a little bit. So if they send me a friend request, I'll accept them. They can follow me on LinkedIn. And also I do have a website, KimWattSpeaks.com. I'm in the process of changing a few things on there. So yes, I do workshops and speak, and they also can be looking for my podcast. It's Electrify Midlife. Is it? Yeah. Electrify Midlife. I'm like, hang on, what is that? Yeah. That's I think how you have to, yeah, I know. That's how you just have to look at it. Electrify Midlife.
Listen, this is what we do. We're just like, you know what is my website again? I'm like, what is my YouTube channel? Child, I don't know. Go find it.
Look for my name.
I don't know.
What's my name? What's my kids' names? How long have I been married for? I don't know.
Listen, everybody, thank you so much for being here with us today. Listen, I am so grateful anytime any of you give me even a millisecond of your day, because I'm so funny about my own time. So when you give me yours, I'm telling you, I appreciate it. I really do. So everybody go out there, make it a great Sunday, make it a great week. One thing I do want to know, is it too late for us to still be saying Happy New Year? Because I've been still saying it. What you think?
I think you can say it.
Okay. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
I'll see you next Sunday.
All right. Love you. Bye.